let's talk about Uranus and Gemini transit that I don't think a lot of people were ready for, and now they can definitely feel the consequences of Uranus entering Gemini, and there's a huge shift in energy on the internet, on the press, and how the news and are being narrated, and all of these things, and how the technology is blowing up, and the technological changes that we're going through. So this is all associated with the Uranus in Gemini. Right now, more than ever, the relearning actually is happening on a larger scale, where a lot of people are motivated. Just know this energy is motivating the collective to learn about things that they were not aware about for actually like their entire life probably, or they didn't pay as much attention to the things that they were missing out on pretty much. And right now you may find yourself as like a sponge, absorbing lots and lots and lots of information to a point where your psyche and nervous system can break down. So be aware of that. This is just a general vibe for the 7 to 8 years, because remember, we had Uranus in Taurus, and Uranus represents internet because it's an Aquarian planet. And remember that we officially shifted into the internet space during COVID in 2020. That's when TikTok came out. That's when we started to entertain the motherfuckers. You know how many accounts I had? I had freaking an account where I was dancing. I had an account where I was doing my skincare. And then I found myself in astrology, and that's what I stuck with. And right now I have 2 accounts. But it's kind of trial and error, is a social, like on the internet, and we started to put ourselves out there like that. The content creation has took over. Like, businesses need to, after 2020 TikTok blow up, just realize that it's associated with Saturn in Aquarius, because from 2020 to 2022 we've been going through Saturn in Aquarius, okay? And that's exactly the change that followed with Saturn and Aquarius. Realized that we were under quarantine, and the internet communication took over. Like, we weren't able to get things done unless we emailed this person, because businesses were closed down, this and that. So in that way, right, we kind of transitioned and got ourselves accustomed to the internet space. However, the problem with that, right, now that Uranus entered, during Taurus, we were able to kind of, let's chase the bag, let's chase that bag online, let's do this business, start that business. But the illusion that Uranus in Taurus gave us was a way, like, to make quick cash. Like, the thinking that it gave to people on the collective scale, that it's easy to make quick cash online. But when it comes to Taurus, it's all about building the legacy, not building quick cash. So that's where a lot of people and social media influencers got messed up. And you see a lot of people gave up. They stopped producing content because it doesn't pay the bills the way they were sold that idea, to just start a business, just do whatever. And now basically we see that the ones who were scammers, or not even scammers, but who were not with the project, with the niche that they were under, are going to kind of fall off and stop doing what they were doing, stop making content, or they will start receiving backlash and getting canceled left and right. So cancel culture basically is when somebody disagrees with your idea, and that's gonna be on the rise, and the way you respond to it and how balanced of a response you produce is going to basically determine the kinds of reputation that these people are going to have online. So it's very important. So that whole thing actually was intensified. I just want to bring you back to Saturn in Aquarius, when we had it from 2020 to 2023. Right now, with Uranus in Gemini and Pluto in Aquarius, another humanitarian position in the sky that we have, and also taking the power back from the leaders to the people people, right? Meaning aligning around our interests and aligning with what actually majority of the people want, and possibly rebelling against certain norms that were imposed for a long time but are not working in our favor anymore. Does that make sense? So, okay, now I'm going to talk about Uranus and Gemini in more depth. So, when Uranus entered Gemini, there was a big shift in universal energy, actually, because Uranus and Taurus made us a little bit slow vibes. We weren't able to catch up, like catch the ins and outs of the internet. We were kind of blinded by these influencer era and people who blew up from TikTok, from quarantine time, and like it was still like that idea. We were still under that idea that we can make it just the same way, just we need a more aesthetically pleasing looking house, kitchen to start cooking videos, Now that the Uranus enters Gemini and Pluto is already in Aquarius since 2024, we have a whole, like our perception of internet is changing, and it's going to be for the next actually 20 years, but specifically the 8 years, because remember, Uranus will be going back and forth, meaning in retrograde motion from Gemini. Gemini represents communication. Gemini is the third house. It's Mercury, and it represents already the internet. Third house is the internet. So being kind of pro at internet is going to be mandatory for every single business. Being pro at creating content, and if you have any ideas and you want to materialize them, and you want to materialize, let's say, your monetize your interest, it will be important to learn communication skills and to learn how to talk to pretty much anyone, to any person from any walk of life, to communicate them and hear them out. And if you're unable to do that, then the cancel culture will rise. It's going to be a lot more cancellations happening online, because communication needs to be adjusted. People, if somebody is challenging, let's say, someone's idea on the internet, Uranus and Gemini may make them act out in ways like from their ego, getting angry, giving angry responses, giving and pretty much showing their shadow side, which is Pluto in Aquarius, meaning showing that, oh, so you're not humanitarian. Oh, so you're not aware of, people's problems. Oh, so you're not aware of this group of people, this culture. You're not aware of this culture, ancestral line and traumas, yet you speak to any person from any culture and or any race in these manners. You know what I mean? So all of these things on a political scale, on the internet, is going to be coming out. Another thing, big technological advancement we're going to have, where, like I said, in order to have a physical business popping, flourishing, you need to be putting yourself out there on TikTok and similar social media, but especially TikTok. I cannot stress it enough how big of an importance, how big of a role more so TikTok will play, and YouTube as well is going to play during Uranus in Gemini. Another thing, you will not have a solid basis during this transit. It's impossible. Just stop relying on the old reality when Uranus was in Taurus, which is actually very recent, even a few months ago. Just know that reality is gone, and if the more subconsciously and consciously actually you stay in by thinking about it, by thinking the thoughts that you have emotions associated, with those thoughts that are reflecting your past, that means that you will recreate your past. But the times that we're moving in is we're going forward. We need to be moving on, meaning integrating the past experiences for in the future, because things are going to be changing drastically, and I don't think people will be able to adapt. And adapting and adjusting the current behaviors, the current ways of communicating with people, the way you come across is very important. Right now, all of us need to take a look at ourselves and to see how we're actually coming across online, even in the comment sections. Do we actually are we aware of ourselves, of how we're coming off, and why we are leaving that taste in other other people's mouths without even knowing them directly, nor their trauma or considering any of that. You know what I mean? Huge self-awareness, adaptability, and adjustment of communication is happening, and you better do it.